No radio? No problem. Stream us live on saga960am.ca. You are listening to New Theory Radio.
Through the six, feel like I'm Bruce Wayne. Took another bitch, she on the mood swing. Saying that she love the way we do things. Describing making.
Test 1 2 1 2. We are live here for another edition of New Theory Radio on News Talk Saga 960 AM. My name is Nav Nanwa. I am your host, and this is a show where we theorize on all things current affairs, pop culture, and everyday life. And you just heard a snippet of Bruce Wayne, which is courtesy of the guest, a little bit of a sneak peek on who I'll have on board on this week's show. I got Saga City's own Saga in the building. They're going to be joining me in just a few moments. And we're going to, as always, like we do here on New Theory Radio, we talk about a lot. We theorize a lot about what's going on kind of in the world, what's going on this week, when it comes to current affairs, pop culture, and everyday life. And this week is no different. We're going to talk about a number of different topics. We are going to be talking about artists and fashion collaborations. It's no secret that you're seeing artists like Travis Scott, Drake, Kanye West dabble with brands like Adidas and Nike, and that's really allowing fashion to make these hip hop artists into huge influencers and huge money movers when it comes to the industry. So I'm going to get Saga's opinion on that because they just actually launched their own clothing line just a few days ago. So it's definitely relevant to chat about that. We're also going to talk about Jay-Z. Jay-Z just turned 50 years old on Thursday. Does not look 50 at all. And I want to get Saga's theories on Jay and what they think his next album might be about, because if you ask me, I think 444 was a fantastic album. Jay-Z's done an amazing job, and it's no secret that I'm a big Jay-Z fan. He's my favorite rapper. But Jay-Z's done a really great job in being able to make music that's really reflective of his age. But now that he's 50 years old, there aren't a lot of rappers out there that are staying consistent and relevant at 50. So I'd love to get their thoughts on what Jay might be talking about. And then we're also going to be talking about a couple of different articles that came out this week. One had to do with Genius, the website that decodes lyrics, suing Google for stealing some of their content, which I thought was interesting because I know Genius themselves have had issues in the past with the way that they've decoded a lot of artists' lyrics and what it actually means. So kind of interesting to see them go at Google when it comes to their content. I also want to talk about a couple of rappers. Unfortunately today we lost a rapper named Juice WRLD, R.I.P, a young rapper who died of a seizure actually this morning in Chicago. And it seems that this newer generation of hip hop artists, we're actually seeing a lot of early deaths, which is very unfortunate. We're seeing a lot of rappers leave very prematurely. If you think about Extension, if you think about Lil Peep, and unfortunately Juice WRLD is on that list as well. So would love to get Saga to talk about that. And then we're going to be talking about a whole different other topics. Let's also go deep into Spotify. Everyone's posting about their Spotify playlists, who their top 5 artists are. Actually, artists who are on Spotify are posting about their numbers, their stats. It's quite interesting to see Spotify really take that dominant stance in the music market and just be able to really take over a lot of people's news feeds. But we'll love to get Saga's perspective on this, specifically when it comes to not only their numbers, but some of the artists that they were bumping this year and what their top 5s look like as well. It's a jam-packed edition of New Theory Radio. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when I come back, it's going to be myself and Saga here on News Talk Saga 960 AM.
You are listening to New Theory Radio.
Whipping through the six, feel like I'm Bruce Wayne. Took another bitch, she on the mood swing. Saying that she love the way we do things. Describing making big noise. Your boy sound like some ninja.
All right. That's the sound of my guests here live in the studio on this Sunday here on News Talk Saga 960 AM. You are tuned into New Theory Radio, the show where we theorize on all things current affairs, pop culture, and everyday life. And the sounds of what you're hearing right now is the track Bruce Wayne by my guests in the building. I got Mississauga's own. I got Demyn, I got Joel, I got Rahdel, I got Farhad in the building. I got the homies here. S4G4, I called them Saga earlier, but you guys were mentioning that there's always confusion based on that. I thought it, because you know what's funny? I feel like when I emceed the Miss Saga Music Awards after party, someone corrected me about it and was like, no, it's actually Saga. It might have been Demetrius actually.
It kind of goes both ways. Like you can call it Saga or S4G4. It doesn't really but people identify more with S4G4 because that's just the spelling of it. But
that's a cool name, man.
We do go by Saga too. And just to correct you too, man. My manager's name's Farhad.
Oh, my bad. I'm like messing up today.
So
Baby
I'm
brain.
Demyn Joel. This is Rahdel.
Farhad, my bad.
Throw that out there,
My bad.
We're deep in here, man. We got everybody from our creative director to obviously the duo itself.
I love it.
I'm just 1/3 of the trio that manages the team for now.
Hey, man, but you're a dope hype beast, though, man. I saw you on stage. You're killing it.
He's the GOAT. The energy this guy brings.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I saw water bottles flying. I saw, people, just jumping up and down. Crazy.
Yeah, we used to perform, right? So, I mean, for him to get back on stage is kind of, in his roots anyway.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
So, was this, with Farhad and Rahdel, did you guys, have a crew before?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did have a crew. Actually, and so Demyn Joel, too, was a part of the team. But afterwards, initially, it was just, we didn't even know about him, actually.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
Initially we had a team before, and then we actually recruited Demyn Joel, and then that's how we all kind of started off. But,
yeah.
Me and Farhad were artists together before.
Nice, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So he knows about the writing and all that stuff too. That's a big reason why he's the best manager for us.
But you know what, man? You truly need a diversified team that can play many different roles. And,
100%.
My dealings with Farhad have been great, man. We're WhatsApping each other, and he's it sounds like he has everything in order, which is great because I've dealt with so many managers, whether it be booking for this show or whether it be booking for other performing shows that I put together. And you can just tell which managers have their stuff together and which ones don't.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many managers out there that just literally oh yeah, my artist will totally be there, and then last minute they're like, oh, do you mind paying for his Uber? And I'm like, dude, it's showtime.
Yeah.
Dude, it happens.
People are crazy. Yeah. We have it good. We have it good. Our team is solid. So couldn't have it any other way, man.
No, but you guys, it's fantastic. I remember stumbling upon an article about S4G4 last year on InSaga, and just kind of from there, kind of keeping you guys on my radar, and then again being able to see you guys do your thing for the first time for myself at the Miss Saga Music After Party back in September. How's the journey been? Because even now, as we're kind of looking, we're talking, I mentioned earlier in the show, we'll talk about Spotify a little later. The Spotify numbers are fantastic for you guys.
I mean, if you look at this year so far compared to last year, so we launched S4G4, it's been about a year, just over a year and a half, about a year and a half since we started it. It was in March 2018.
March
2018 is when we officially launched the company. We hadn't even started putting stuff up on Spotify, but we signed the paperwork and we got the company off the ground.
Nice.
That was March, so it's been about a year and a half. And in the first year, we did pretty well considering we only had half the year. We still did really, really well. Yeah. And this year even better. So I mean, the journey's been good. The journey's just been about
progression since last year, man.
Yeah.
Perseverance, man. Just we're trying to stick to it, and just keep going because it's hard, man. This industry's tough. There's a lot of competition. There's
man.
There's so many left field things you don't know about. You learn as you go. You know what I'm saying? Things change every day in this industry, so it's crazy.
When I first started doing music, dude, I just thought you sing on a mic and that's it.
That's it.
Never really knew about mixing, mastering.
Yeah.
And then getting your stuff on playlists and stuff like that. It's crazy, man.
Because the one thing I'll say about you guys is your branding's heavy. Even now as I'm in the studio, everyone's rocking the S4G4 attire, which I love, and that's the one aspect that I always tell people, that if you are serious about your craft, you have to think about it like a business. You have to be able to, brand yourself, brand your content, brand your music, be able to make it cohesive, make sure everybody in your squad has a cohesive vision. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Stay Out Late. These guys in Toronto.
No, I don't think so.
They're my homies. They were on the show a few months ago now. My boy Tremaine, my boy Jay Parks, my boy Scotty IV. these guys, they're kind of I see a lot of similarities.
Three rappers in a group.
It's like a bunch of them, yeah.
One of them's from Saga.
Actually, all of them are from Brampton, but they're based in Toronto.
I think when I tuned into the station, I think I heard that's the one time I heard when I listened to it.
You might have,
because when I first checked you out, so I decided to. I was in the car and I tuned in and I heard them on.
It was a funny show. We talked about.
They have like a brand, right? Clothing brand.
Stay Out Late, like,
but they're actually artists too.
They're artists too.
Yeah,
okay. And it's very similar to what you guys are doing.
They're doing like more like real rap though, like real like.
Yeah, it's very. It's like it's heavy. Yeah,
I don't know conscious,
like
but
more boom bap.
Yeah, more
boom bap. Probably like it's definitely fits in with sort of that vibe that we're kind of seeing now too a little bit.
Okay, like the Coles and Kendrick.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely like that. Definitely heavily based on lyrics.
Yeah, I get you.
But there are a lot of similarities kind of with the two crews that you guys like, their crew and your crew, because they also are very much around. Hey, Stay Out Late's like our collective, but each artist does their own thing. But when we come together, we still put out albums and records. Awesome, we have clothing. Like they now do parties, kind of branded under that same umbrella. And I think that's the mindset. Like you got to be able to think about just more than the music.
Picture
100%.
You got to, man. And you know, just to stay on that topic, I know we were talking about coming up, and you know, you mentioned in Saga, so shout out to the homie Khaled. Like you always need people like that to kind of have your back and see the vision from day one as well. So shout out to Khaled. He's really doing his thing in the city.
No, totally, man. Totally. Let's get into some topics, man. You know, I think what I love about sort of our show here is, you know, not only do we get to learn about awesome artists like you guys, but I also be able to sort of tap into what you guys are thinking regarding some of the news and some of what's going on. First and foremost, you know, R.I.P. Juice WRLD. That's unfortunate, man. Like,
man, that sucks, man.
21 years old.
Yeah. I'm kind of confused with the whole thing, though, you know, because like he had a seizure, but like, you're in the airport, so it's like, do you have access to medical help right away?
You do.
So it must have been like really bad for him to, because I mean, typically seizures, like people don't really pass away from having a seizure.
Yeah, especially, and you would assume in that situation, again, we're not trying to speculate, but you would assume that he's with his crew, and if it is a seizure, there is maybe someone to help him.
If
at
he's
least
prone to that, and it's something that happened before, they would know what to do. I guess. But I don't know. I guess so. They're gonna do a toxicology, obviously.
Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna
figure out what's up. But I mean, I don't know. I just thought because he's in the airport. I mean, that's the best place. Like, I mean, medical help is right there, right?
Oh yeah, usually it is, right? And I'll flat out admit it. Like I wasn't a big Juice WRLD fan. I think I maybe listened to a couple of his records, but I think it's sad that you're seeing like someone at 21, and then I think back to, like, I wasn't a big Extension fan either. And then he passed away because he was killed last year, and then Lil Peep also overdosed last year.
It's just crazy because, like, you heard of that, the 27 Club.
Yeah, man.
Now people are not even hitting like 20.
They're not. And do you find that it's this new generation of hip hop that's just
man? But even if you notice, like even in Toronto, a lot of like young kids are getting.
Yeah,
that's what it is. The thing is, this is the thing, man. The thing is that the new age, the new generations, these kids, the cultures influence them in a different way than us. Like even before with us, when we grew up, hip hop did influence us, but to an extent, it wasn't like mans were like trying to, like, everyone needed a strap, like la la la, like it wasn't about that. Like nowadays these guys took it to another extreme, and I think these young boys nowadays just don't have the same mentality. They're not as mature. They don't really understand the culture as much, and they're just going overboard with everything. You know what I mean? Like Little's, I don't know if you know who Little's the General is. That's that's Sife's manager, and like that's Devin Tracy's good boy, and like he got shot up in Georgetown on his driveway.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, from what I know, this guy's not even involved like that in anything. So I definitely know that it was some foul play with it had something to do with who he probably represents, or somebody he's associated with. And I mean, like, that's crazy though, the thing in your own home, like on your driveway, you know, he has a baby girl, you know, he has a little daughter at home, like that's where it's come to. Like, it's just like, I can't even believe it, to be honest, you know, like the way the city is right now. It's like, I don't even go out, we don't even go out anymore. I don't even associate with people like that, because I don't even want to be a part of that industry night stuff anymore, because there's always guys trying to target someone else, and you don't want to get caught up in that, you know?
Especially with sort of a lot of our artists now being localized but getting like a lot of traction.
You know what it is, dude? Cloud is a crazy drug.
Cloud is crazy right now, man.
Cloud is a crazy drug. It's just like, I don't know, man. People like sometimes want that more than money.
Yeah,
it's actually scary. So.
No, it's true.
But it's crazy because I think I heard 50 say it somewhere, like, look at the culture and how it shifted. I mean, violence and aggression has always been there. So you know, through gangster music, through the streets, even the drill movement in Chicago.
Oh man!
But at some point, we went from, you know, the hip hop went from glorifying or emphasizing on being the dealer which is not good either. By the way, kids at home, I'm not saying either.
But it's
of it.
The hustler mentality, right?
You went from being the hustler to the user, right? So that's why the two main things that's really
50 said that, eh?
Yeah. So
it's because nowadays it's true. Nowadays everyone talks about using. Look at these guys. Guys talk about using.
Said, I'll take you to the candy shop.
and
you just have to bring that one up, eh?
If you really think about it, man, like 5, 6 Lil Peep, Triple X, Mac Miller,
Mac hit me hard, man.
And it's crazy because the culture went from that it shifted to substance abuse, and I think substance abuse and gun violence are the two main reasons.
And let's talk about the fact that some of these artists, they talk about using drugs that they don't even use. Let's talk about Future. Let's talk about Future, because Future said in a statement himself that he does not do Molly, nor does he do Percocets, nor does he do any of that. So why are you doing that then, though? But why would you do it? If you're in a power position like that, why would you talk about something you don't do? The guys who do it, I understand. That's how you express yourself. That's how you make music and you talk about it. That's fine. But somebody who doesn't do it, why are you even influencing youths like that? What in your mind makes you think you have to do that? You can already make any record you want and sell records. Man. There's no reason for it.
It's unfortunate,
and that actually bothers me, because like I know guys who do it and they talk about it, and that's okay. They're allowed to, you know what I'm saying? Because that's their life. And if they want to express themselves and talk about it, then they can do that. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not even in that life and you're not even a part of it, as you say in your statements, then why are you even talking about it?
Yeah, there's also this glorification of depression.
I lost a lot of respect for him when I found that out too. I was like, man, that's crazy.
And I like with that type of comment that Future made, you can tell he's trying to. He's like, guys, don't worry about me. Like I'm fine. I'm just like rapping because that's what sells records. And
that's the thing about hip hop culture in general, man. A lot of people talk about like just anything in general that they don't really do, right? A lot of people talk about guns that they don't shoot and stuff like that.
People don't understand their influence.
They have no idea. You don't know what your power is on that type of platform.
They just want to. You know what it is nowadays is people. You know what I feel like nowadays? A lot of insecurity in the world. There's a lot of insecurity amongst the youth, amongst people our age, and people feel that insecurity with trying to look cool. And that's when it comes down to people lying about what they do and lying about the things that they are. They just want to be that way because it's cool. Social media has made things. I guess it's like an online resume for these kids nowadays, and that's how they can compare. That's how they can gauge who's more popular and who's better than who. That's literally what it comes down to, man. If in school, if somebody has way more followers than somebody else, they're like, that guy's the better person. It has nothing to do with intelligence, intellect. It has nothing to do with morals. It has nothing to do with anything else, because that goes out the window now. It's more about being cool, and whoever's the coolest has the pride. Like, you know what I mean? And when that's become the focus of society, you know it's broken.
No, man. No, that's a good way you put it, Rahdel, because like honestly, even I was looking at Six Buzz and just some of the stuff that they glorify. I know they have a mixtape out where they kind of promote these rappers, and it's nuts, man. It's nuts to see what's driving clout, and a lot of it is drug use or promoted gang violence or some type of like, this dude's like super depressed, so he's just gonna overdose on drugs, and like the lyrics are saying that as well. Like it's
the comments are wild too, man.
The comment boxes
people are hating at the top, at the most highest tier of hating possible right now.
Honestly, man, social media is so toxic. Like it's a different world, man.
It's a different world.
You also think about these rappers that are getting big, like the Uzi Verts and all that are in their like early 20s. Like think about it this way. Like I think about when I'm 31 years old. So for me, like when I was like my peak hip hop interest was probably high school, and then Get Rich or Die Trying was like one of the records I remember. Yeah.
We're the same age.
We're kind of all like in the same
area.
Yeah.
Groups. Dude, I remember that album too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pivotal album.
Yeah, man. But those days were different.
Yeah, I remember everybody just wanted to be. To your point, Farhad, like everybody just wanted to be like a cool tough guy gangster. And I remember,
for sure. That was a thing.
Baggy clothes,
we all had
but we took it
bandanas.
to an extent.
Yeah,
right. For us,
no one actually.
It was more like, okay, get some baggy clothes, get some Sean John velour suits,
4XL t-shirts.
Get the 4XL.
4XL white tees.
Yeah, like the extra large new era
I had
hat.
some Exco stuff. Don't worry,
you had to.
Exco was lit.
But Exco was like the bootleg Echo. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real.
Everyone showed up to Stitches when they were on sale.
Stitches? I did, yo. You know what's crazy? I remember like they had like the ball, like shorts and like
the whole suit.
The
whole suit, man.
Stitches.
That's the style.
Man. That was the extent that we went to though. Like I don't feel like we went further than that. Like man, everyone has their life. You trap, whatever, la la la. But we weren't like going out looking for it. Like
we
nowadays,
didn't have social media.
Yeah,
we
man.
didn't have social media.
Social media is like a real game game changer, man.
Unless we had MSN, but I would just that was basically
that was when you had those freestyle battles on MSN.
Oh, for real, yeah. How many girls I nudged? Yo, if I like the girl, you're getting nudged.
Yeah, but let's be real. BBM was the thing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that was more in our 20s though, like after high school, but like BBM
like university
was the thing, man. That was the thing.
But someone actually said he's like, you got these rappers like Lil Uzi Vert. I mean, I'm using Uzi because I think out of that crop, he's like one of my favorites. I like him too.
He's dope. He's dope.
But like, if you think about us kind of growing up with 50, and then you look at Eminem, like all these like rappers that have very strong sort of personalities, very, very strong-minded. Yeah. Then you go to like these kids that maybe when they were 10, who was the biggest rapper? Like Lil Wayne was the biggest, and you've seen the challenges Lil Wayne has had. Like dude's almost died a couple times because of overdosing, right? And
he loves the lean, man.
A part of that drug culture kind of comes from that. It does. It's crazy, man.
But that's when it started getting a little bit more glorified, like to like.
Oh, for sure.
Like 2000. Everyone
had the purple drink, man. Like everyone was talking about scissor and talking about codeine.
I feel like before though they had I feel like people didn't talk about guns. Like they did, but not as much, not as in depth. Yeah. Like now they're talking about specific name brands like Dracos. Like they're talking about like the type of bullets they have, what's in the seat. Like I mean, like it never was like that before. It was never that cool to be like a strapped up guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now like it's like I don't know, man. Now
you know what it is? I think before people rapped about guns, now they sing it in melody.
Yeah. So you know? There's R&B. There's R&B killers. We call them the R&B killers.
Like if you think about it, right?
That's actually a great point.
What's a good question is, did the consumer change or did the business change? Because Lose Yourself, let's use that as an example, right?
Yeah, classic song,
Grammy nominated. I think it won the Grammys too.
Great storytelling.
Won an Oscar too. It won an Oscar too.
It did.
Till this day, like I was in EFS like 2 years ago, and I came on and people were just going off. People were like kids like that or look like they're 19-year-old.
Yeah.
They were dancing to it. Like, how do you know this song? But there was balance. The content had balance.
Yeah,
like,
it did.
Why isn't Run the Jewels as popular as Ray Shrimmer?
And it's very similar. It's very similar to Eminem, right? Like, and that's one thing I've always realized is nowadays, like people like. For me, when growing up, someone asks you, who's some of the real hip hop you listen to? It's like, for me, it was like always Gangstar, Tribe, like all the classics, right?
Big L.
Yeah, Big L. Like you go deep into like the New York scene. Now, if you ask someone who's the realest rapper you listen to, like they'll say J. Cole. And it's not to hate J. Cole. J. Cole's awesome. But that's like the extent of it now. It's like, oh yeah, man, I'm still into hip hop. I listen to J. Cole. It's like, okay, J. Cole's like good, but he's not like...
He's like the last defender of hip hop.
Literally, the last defender is a great point, man.
But the thing is, there's just a few. Like, there's few and far in between now.
Yeah.
Before there were so many.
Yeah.
Remember when you used to burn CDs? Like you ran out of CDs to burn because there was so much good music.
I started
you can't even make a playlist. You can't even make a playlist.
Yeah, you're right. Now I can't even find like songs to add on my Spotify playlist or like even to add to my liked things because I'm like I don't even know what I like anymore because there's not really much.
I feel like I used to burn like a new CD like every day.
The best album I've heard in the last like couple of years is St. John's album. That was like actually the best album I heard. And a lot of people don't resonate with it. That's because they haven't given the chance to take it in. I think if you take that in top to bottom, I think it's one of the best albums I've heard.
Yeah,
because he did not fall into the influence of what's going on now at all. I don't think. Yeah. I think he definitely went through his heart and he wrote things that were from the heart and that make sense and that were important and sent good messages and like I don't see. I don't know, man. I don't see too many guys doing what he did. Like I haven't heard an album like that in a long time, man.
Yeah.
And like people are like Posts. Like a lot of people say Post album was amazing.
Yeah.
And to me, the first one he did was amazing. And then like the last one he just dropped was whatever to me. I don't really care.
It's very
more poppy.
It's very poppy.
It's more like he did it for like the mainstream people. And I guess that's kind of where I was like whatever. But
no, and that's the thing too about Post Malone is like I like his music, but to your point, like the last album was very. Like he found his formula now.
It was really safe.
Yeah, super safe.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it.
Super safe.
That's exactly what it is. It was very safe.
And I love Post, but I love
and it worked for him.
Patient.
Let's be real.
Patient.
Patient's my favorite song. Too young. Patient. White Iverson. Those were the days.
Stoney was
cool. You know what? But let's be real. Every single artist is like that. Let's talk about The Weeknd. What's his best stuff? House of Balloons.
100%.
Let's talk about Drake. What's his best stuff? You know, near the beginning, right? Of the couple albums he dropped. Everyone, it seems like from there, you can't satisfy somebody. You'll never be able to get that feeling back.
I still feel like Drake hasn't top Take Care, man, in my eyes. Like Take Care is still the best album.
No, but can you?
I don't know if he can.
I don't know if he can.
Yeah.
And imagine in your mind tied to that moment in time when you have that nostalgia tied to it. Yeah. Nothing's gonna top that from him.
Nothing.
Because it was just that moment of your life that was like, you know,
that was, man.
I think we were all in like post-secondary, you know.
Yeah.
It was the moments, the girls, like
you see,
the pub nights.
Shot for me.
I think
rain starts falling.
Everyone was in their feelings, man. Everyone was in their feelings.
I think it has a lot more than just the music. It's a lot more than just the music.
I
you know.
actually remember like. As soon as Take Care came out, because you know with Drake stuff, a lot of it resonates over time.
Yeah,
just
totally, man.
Hit right away, and I had to listen to it the third time in one night. You know, because back then I think torrents were there, right? You didn't have the
good old torrents.
Streaming era, and like as soon as I heard Crew Love, like. You know, when the weekend starts off and then
Crew Love. I remember the day I heard it.
I remember as soon as I heard it, it's like 4 a.m. I called him first, then I called him second. It was on a 3-way. We're like, this is a moment for our city, man. I told my story and made his story. Like, we were like, this is crazy.
Dude, even Lord knows, man. With
even
Rick
that,
Ross, like,
UGK, bro. Underground Kings. I heard that.
Underground Kings is like the track.
Crazy. Like, I still remember, because I remember I was doing it was my first year of my MBA, and I remember it came out, and then Drake did an interview on Flow, and it was kind of sick because, like, for me, it kind of had that Jay-Z, like, New York vibe when Jay-Z would go to Hot 97 and just be like, hey, guys, I'm touching down the city. The new album's coming out. And I remember he had, like, Weeknd and, like, Lil Wayne on the phone, and they're all, like, bigging up Toronto. And I was like, yo, this is a big moment. Like, he's just hanging out at a Toronto studio, just, like, talking about the record.
Weeknd just landed off a plane.
Yeah,
remember that? That's the interview. Yeah, that was his first interview.
Flow's good with everybody like that, though, because it's because, you know, Ricochet and Mastermind, they're good with a lot of people in the industry.
Yeah, shout out to Mastermind, man.
Because, yo, they're the ones who really keep it together, I think. I think they're the ones who really like bring in these artists because I don't think people would go otherwise if they didn't know them like that. So I think a shout out to those guys because I think they're really holding it down. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Right when we came in for the interview, the first interview we did, it was right when it had changed to Flow.
Over?
So we're like, yo, this is crazy because we used to listen to Flow growing up, and we're like, and they just changed back, and we're like, now we get to do the interview. I'm like, that's dope, you know?
Because of Flow, that's why like I really enjoyed Canadian hip hop growing up. Like that's why I was a big Cardi, Chocolate. Like I was a big fan of Maestro, like because they would have to play those records with the U.S. records, but as a kid, you didn't know any better. Yeah. If the record was good, the record was good.
Well, that's the thing nowadays. Now radios only have a limited amount of Canadian content they can play, right? So it's like
that's true too.
It's more so like they support the movement as much as they can in Toronto. Like I think that's what's great. They did that whole Toronto takeover stuff, and like, a lot of people are following suit now, which is great. They started a trend in the city, amazing. Yeah. But still, it comes up to the big boys, and the big boys still will only play a limited amount of Canadian content, and that limited amount of Canadian content is filled up by the guys who are already on the top. Yeah. So there is still no room for upcomers and other new artists to really get their stuff heard on radio. Radio's still not where it needs to be, I don't think, personally, because I think these guys should be putting a lot more money behind Canadian content and supporting their artists. But I mean, they have to do what pays the bills. I understand that too, but I see a little bit of a transition. I think is going to go somewhere further. You know?
It's a double-edged sword, man. That's the issue. Like we all want our own talent to blow up, but then once they blow up, they account for that Canadian quota of content, right? Yeah. So it's.
But it's good at least doing a made in Toronto thing because at the end of the day, it gives these artists that feel like they really can't like break out a chance to break out because you never know, right?
All right. We're back here on New Theory Radio. That's the sound of S4G4 and the track Mood. And S4G4 is currently in studio with me. I got Rahdel, Demyn Joel, and Farhad in the building. It's been a fun conversation. We just I think we talked about a lot of things in the previous segment, but you know that's how we do it here on New Theory Radio. We just throw random theories, random thoughts into the mic and see what sticks. And you know this next topic because this past December 4th was Jay-Z's 50th birthday. Jay-Z to me is the best rapper alive. I think he's fantastic. I've been a fan since I've been a kid. And if you ask me, I actually tweeted this out and had some mixed reviews, but I feel like there hasn't been a better cohesive hip-hop album since 444 2 years ago. Maybe there was. I don't know. Well, maybe we can talk about it. But what I'm curious about Jay-Z is the fact that he's 50. There aren't a lot of rappers right now that are doing it in their 50s, and if they are doing it in their 50s, they're on the nostalgia tour. They're doing the hits from 20 years ago. Yeah, because right now nostalgia's heavy. Like there's so many of these nostalgia tours popping up. I feel like for Jay, I think because of his situation and the moves that he makes, I feel like he doesn't have to do the nostalgia tours, and I feel like he can actually maybe come up with a new album that might do really well, because I think people always like to hear what Jay-Z has to say. So I want to get some theories on this. Like, if Jay-Z was to come out with an album now in his 50s, what do you think it'd be about? Because one thing I also want to add too is I think Jay does a fantastic job in sort of making music that reflects his age. Like 444 was about adultery. It was about how he, messed up in his marriage, and then
that's what it was about. I didn't really take it.
Yeah, a lot of it was. It was a response to Beyonce's Lemonade.
Let's be real. I haven't taken any Jay-Z because he's to me.
Wow, Rahdel with the hot take.
You want me to answer your question?
Yeah,
no album.
Please, no album. So you see, what are you just poking fun?
I'll play. Look. I mean, you know what? Everyone thinks he's the GOAT, and I'm not. I mean, he's just not for me, man. His voice is not for me. It's the style of rap he does is not for me. It's not.
So who's your GOAT then?
Who's my GOAT? Like of all time? I'm
a Biggie fan, dude.
You're talking about rappers, like, because it depends. My GOAT is not.
Okay, best rapper alive right now.
To me, best rapper alive
of their body of work or this current moment.
I would say a mix of both. Like, because obviously the best rapper alive, I think, would have to have a strong body of work.
Man, this is a conversation where everyone's gonna have their own different thing. Personally, for me, I'm just a big Drake fan.
I'm a Drake, man. I'm gonna have to go with Drake
Eminem for me, when I was younger, dude, like I just used to listen to it, and he influenced me a lot to just like for the multi-word type of play and stuff like that.
The flow, man.
Flow, dude. Like I don't know. Like I just feel his body of work, like his newer stuff, like that doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
But his older stuff and like I don't know, just the whole body of work, I still feel like he's like lyrically nobody. If you took somebody in a room, you're like, you got to be in this room and you got to battle this guy.
Yeah.
You're
even now, he bodied.
Yeah, he's still bodied. I just can't resonate with his new stuff. But like I'm just saying, like for the best rapper alive, you're talking about technicality. You're talking about flow. You're talking about just like being that intricate. I give it to him for sure.
Farhad, back me up, man.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. I love my brothers, Demyn and Rahdel, but here I stand with you on Jay-Z being the GOAT, because I think, and I love M too, but I think he just doesn't have enough songs for every different vibe.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Jay-Z has never had a whack album. I think Jay-Z hasn't had the most classic albums. I think that goes to Kanye. I think Kanye is the overall GOAT as an artist.
Yeah.
But as a rapper itself, I think Jay-Z is it, because he's just like schooled us and educated us throughout all of his journeys and phases in life, from being a hustler, trapping, right? Then, having the hottest chick in the game wearing his name, like wearing his chain, like doing that, like, and graduating to other levels. Like, it's actually going to be dope. Like, I'm really looking forward to his next album, because I think he had the best collab verse of the year last year on What's Free.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there was a verse better than What's Free on Meek Mill's album. It was Meek Mill, Rick Ross, and Jay-Z and What's Free. But, if you look at Kill Jay-Z, the story of OJ and Legacy, like, it was kind of like a response album to Lemonade. I thought they were going to do an album together.
Well, which they ended up doing after.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think now maybe he's going to talk more about fatherhood.
Yeah.
Even though he did chime on it a little bit, it'll be more about fatherhood. He's going to talk about
global warming.
He's gonna,
he might, man. And if he does, people will listen.
I think his album's also going to be very politically potent.
Yeah.
And as well as he's going to talk about his role with the NFL a lot. Yeah. He's just always flexing the knowledge, though, right? It's just like when he said, Hov did that, so hopefully you ain't had to go through that.
Yeah,
It's just crazy, right?
But
he is the GOAT.
Yeah, but whatever he does, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to buy it, or it's not going to be on my playlist.
It's okay. I'll buy it with the S4G4 credit card.
Just play it. But, to that point, like, I find that
burn that receipt.
I find that when Jay-Z does a feature on someone's record, to me, it's like an event, man. Like, you're
100%.
like you think about the record he did on Scorpion, right, for Drake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I didn't honestly, like, again, I was excited for Scorpion to come out, but right away I went to the Jay-Z record, because I'm like, I want to hear what Jay's gonna say, and he had that Zimmerman line, which was like so like,
he's always in tune, man.
Always.
And the funny thing is, that's their weakest collab. Like, that has nothing on Pound Cake.
Pound Cake
or even Light Up.
Pound Cake is fire. Light Up is fire.
Yeah.
There's some
and they had like a bad album. Bad song on Blueprint 3. But other than
that wasn't Drake did the hook, I think. Off that.
Yeah, we off that for sure. But he's just.
I actually listened to that this week. Because all of Jay-Z's albums are on Spotify.
Anytime he hits a collab,
the craziest thing with Jay-Z, though, he bodies everybody else on features, but always gets bodied on his own songs.
You think so? Eh?
Renegade
for sure.
Renegade.
Yeah.
Run This Town.
By Kanye, yeah.
Yeah, Run This Town. Like,
a lot of people quote Kanye. The RAP4 line was like,
there's a lot of songs, man.
I think we should stop. I think we should stop spending so much time on Jay-Z.
But okay, so let's honestly flip it a bit. Who do you think right now? Because honestly, like Kanye's 41, Drake's not getting any younger. He's like 30, turning I think 33 or 34 now. Like you're starting to see a lot of these sort of really successful rappers getting older in age. Who do you think will have longevity like Jay? Like who do you think will be
I
like?
think it has to go to Drake.
Drake has already proven himself. He's gonna he's gonna be a bigger legend than Jay was. He's gonna be a bigger legend than anyone was, and it's just facts because he in a shorter a period of time he's done more than all of them.
Yeah.
So he is already yes. No, honestly speaking, in one decade, Drake has done more than any other artist in the hip hop game in one decade.
Yeah. That's interesting,
that's subjective, you know, because Kanye did a lot in a decade too. Yeah. Jay-Z did a lot in a decade too. But I don't personally think anyone did like as much as Drake did.
Also, Drake's impact on the culture, man. Like you think about the My Feelings challenge last year.
Dude, singing was not cool. When I was younger, singing was not cool. If you sang, for girls it was cool. But if the man didn't know you sang, like wait, you sing? No, I say no, I don't sing. I like dance.
I dabble.
I harmonize. But I gotta back that up because if you look at it, right, music is melody, right?
Yeah.
And the boy can spit when he wants to spit. Even look at that Top Boy track that he has, you
Crazy.
know, that he did in the UK. Like, despite the allegations, no matter what you want to say, in the last 10 years, what he's done, a lot of people didn't do in a career.
No,
obviously,
for sure, man.
we know that, you know, Jay-Z, for pure rap, you know, a lot of people consider Jay-Z or Tupac the GOAT. But when you make stadium music, right, pop music, that lives on forever. Yeah, and I'm not saying it's
we're talking about the Posts. We're talking about the Drakes. We're talking about the stadium guys who can sell out stadiums.
Yeah.
Who actually, and there's not really a lot of guys who can play on that level. J. Cole can play on that level. Post Malone can play on that level.
Kendrick can play on that level, but even then it's not close.
Even then, not even close. Nah, because you know, a Jay-Z, I'm pretty sure can play on that level. I guess, right? I don't even know, man. To be honest, like I don't really look. I don't know nothing about him.
But if you look at the new wave, right, like. When it was Jay-Z, Eminem, Nas, the disparity wasn't that high. Yeah, Eminem blew everybody out the water with all the album sales.
Definitely album sales.
But Jay-Z still had album sales. Jay-Z did his thing. Jay-Z was really smart with, you know, doing those collab albums with Justin Timberlake, Linkin
the Sam
Park.
song was one of the smartest things ever.
He was platinum before the album came out.
So smart.
Yeah, genius.
But look at everything. Look at impact on the culture. Look at, you know, men lie, women lie, numbers don't, just to quote Jay-Z. Like,
I'm a businessman, not a businessman.
Look at the discrepancy between Drake and Kendrick, who's, I guess, the unanimous number 2. It's huge.
It's like
it's very like it's interesting to see the parallels of Jay-Z, Nas, and then Kendrick and Drake.
Yeah,
like because Kendrick to me has now become like the anti-Drake. Like if someone doesn't like Drake, they're a Kendrick fan. Chances are
it's like wrestling.
And it's just like wrestling.
Not even like John Cena, or you like CM Punk.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but genres have. It's because genres have moved, man. You know what? The biggest selling genres now are pop rap. It's not hip hop anymore. It's pop rap.
Yeah.
What sells the most is the Post Malone type records, the Drake hits. That is what sells the most. What are the top streaming artists on Spotify of this year? You know, Post beat everyone.
Yeah,
he did. He beat everyone.
Also, Drake was number 1 in Canada, I think. Too.
He is, of course.
But Post beat Drizzy.
Oh, did he?
On that list, I have to check again.
But
but you know what? I have to check the list again. But Post dropped more. Look up the stats. Maybe I might be wrong, but I think on the list that I read,
Google is your friend.
Post was one of the top.
Drake's the biggest artist in the streaming era, though, of all time.
He is
in the
overall.
Last 5 years.
He definitely knows how to play the streaming game.
The only guy who gave him a run for his money was Post, right? And but what I'm saying is, if you look at both of them, it's pop rap. It is not
because hip hop's the biggest genre right now.
Exactly,
you know?
but it's because of that subsect of hip hop. I don't believe it is the Kendricks and the J. Coles that are the biggest right now, because that's not the biggest music right now. Unfortunately, it's just not.
Only Kendricks, Coles, Post. And Drake's can do arenas.
Tours. Yep, I 100% agree with that. You can't get no Tories in there. No one else can do that.
But the Chicks tape was fire.
So 2019. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So
am I right?
So Rahdel, you're right. Post Malone was number 1.
Yeah. Post was number 1.
And then what was Drake? Drake was.
He wasn't even like top 5.
No, he wasn't.
But he wasn't active.
No, the Spanish guys did a lot too.
What about Billie Eilish?
Spanish music is backing up.
Billie Eilish was number 2.
Yeah,
number 3 is Ariana Grande. So it's
very
pop.
Billie Eilish.
So yeah, if you look at what's running the charts right now, it's pop.
I had a feeling it would be her. Yeah.
So you know what? We're moving away. What people don't realize is, they're categorizing hip hop as the biggest genre right now, but it's actually not. It's a subsect of pop right now. It's the biggest genre.
Guys,
it's hip hop pop.
I had to laugh. I'm looking at this Spotify infographic, and the top breakout genre is modern Bollywood. That's hilarious.
Damn. Okay. Right, so I gotta get back to my root.
I gotta get back to the motherland.
As for G4, man, good job.
We gotta sync with Bollywood.
But that's crazy. But to your point, Rahdel, like that's crazy. Like Post, because like we just talked about Post Malone. Like he's not like okay. Well, let's just keep it on topic. Do you think Post Malone will be here when he's 50?
Yes.
Yes, so, right?
Yes, because
but not as a rapper.
No, he's a multi-talented guy. He was a country singer first. He knows how to play guitar. He knows how to play instruments. He's very musically inclined. So he is smart enough to always be involved in music, whether he's an artist or not.
Yeah.
So he will always have longevity in this, and because he has such a good ear for it. No, you can't make songs like that unless you have a really good ear for it.
But not even that. It's always his music's always different. From White Iverson, when I heard White Iverson, I never thought he would be the person.
You actually showed me Post the first time. Yeah. It was Demyn who showed me Post the very first time and showed me. He's like, yo, listen to White Iverson. I'm like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
You know? You see I caught that? Yeah.
Smooth.
Damage control. But you know what? I have a great I have a good analogy for this. Like, if you compare like rappers, like we gotta actually dissect it, like rappers alone and then artists. Just pure artists. An artist is like a two-way player in basketball. Now Jordan's like the Kawhi's, like
but now everyone's an artist. They're not just rappers. There's only very few that are left that are just rappers.
Exactly.
But there's very few. Maybe even DaBaby I wouldn't consider as just a rapper.
No, he's a dope artist.
Yeah,
right? He's an artist overall. So who's left in just the rapping section? Not really many.
Kendrick and Cole, right?
You still have your Immortal Techniques and Tech Nines and those guys, but I mean that wave has died, bro. That's gone, long gone.
Not Tech Nine. Tech Nine's still doing crazy indie.
He's doing
because they have a cult,
indie artists.
But they have a cult. They have a cult for them. But I'm talking about megastars. I'm talking about megastars. You want to be a megastar, you need to be a well-rounded artist.
You have to be a two-way player.
Yes, 100%.
It's nuts that Drake was the most streamed artist of the decade, though, and globally. Like you think about this decade, right?
Of course, he was of the decade. He crushed everyone.
Because 2010's when Thank Me Later came out, and then like this decade was all Drake.
Yo, listen, let's compare it like this. I seen a post where they went through the timeline of the top selling artists since the Michael Jackson decade. Since before that. Yeah, exactly. So they showed who went to the top. So the top guys, I remember watching the timeline. It was like, MJ held the longest spot, and before him, Queen kind of jumped in there a bit.
Yeah.
There was the Beatles were actually very small. There was actually the Eagles were actually even. They held a bigger spot on that.
They didn't count UK numbers.
So So
Hotel California's Eagles, right?
But they count across the pond, man.
How many Filipinos contribute to Hotel California?
Actually,
we have that. We have that on our karaoke systems nonstop.
But going back to that,
our national anthem is literally
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So going back to that, like if you look at who has held the top spot for the longest time, Madonna was up there for a while.
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys even held that spot for a while.
Of course.
And then
before Migos, there were Backstreet Boys.
And then let me tell you right now, though, after that, since MJ held that spot, there has been no one that held the spot longer than Drake.
Yeah.
So you have to consider Drake the new day MJ, in terms of not the music, but in terms of what he's done for the culture and for the industry.
Didn't Drake get that Beatles tattoo where he's like walking in front of the Beatles?
Did he actually? Yeah. That's hard.
It was the Abbey Road photo, and then he's walking in front of them.
I thought that was a meme. That's actually
he references Beatles too in problems.
Because he knows, man. If you look at those charts, those are and you know what's crazy about those charts is if you've noticed since back then until now, it's always been some type of form of pop that has held the top.
Melodic music
will always hold the top, and that is just what it is, and that's the only reason they ever seen a hip hop artist hold that spot. He was the first guy to hold that spot. As the most sales in the world for any genre, he was the first guy to bring hip hop up to that caliber.
Yeah.
But the craziest thing is, as melodic as he is, the boy spits flame.
He spits flame.
Like,
he does, man.
People don't want it with the boy, man.
I think he's an incredible rapper. I don't care what anybody says to me.
The most easily understood rapper. Like, you have to, like,
and all those ghostwriting allegations, dude, I just feel like it was just, that ghostwriting thing?
I
feel like his references, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I've heard his old stuff, and I just know how good he is at the pen. That when people had those accusations,
the calm, like,
I feel like it's like as artists, a lot of people don't realize that when you're an artist, you get references and you get like
100%.
ideas. But I don't think anybody would pen the guy's verses. Maybe like a melody or something like that.
It's just like the stories you hear about, and I think Kanye does the same thing. Where when Kanye or Drake are putting an album together. everyone on sort of their roster. It's all hands on deck.
100%.
That's why you hear Majid Jordan like sleeping.
Our creative director has fire melodies, and someone's like, "Yo, we'll use that instead."
Yeah, you need to.
It doesn't mean that I don't have any talent. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a collaborative process.
It's a collaborative process.
But let's not get it twisted though. Kanye, like with Kanye, it's so collaborative. Like there's multiple people in the room,
and there's multiple iterations too.
Yeah, and he never claimed to be the best rapper.
Iteration? I went to go to college.
Like for example, that wasn't even a sentence. Like the Webster's definition. Actually, going back to the topic a little bit, just one quick question: Who's a rapper in your eyes that you liked that you thought would have like had crazy longevity?
Honest with you,
but then fell off.
Lupe Fiasco. I was a big Lupe Fiasco
dude.
fan.
Well, you and I are the same guy.
I was gonna say Big L, but he fell off in a different one. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus Christ. Anybody can get it.
Oh my god! All
right, he was my favorite. He was my favorite.
Big L was
rapper,
awesome.
So don't get
hey, there's people that say because Big L was going to sign to Rockefeller. There were people saying that he would have been in Jay's spot.
Yeah, dude, he would have been the best rapper. Period. Because he was the first guy to introduce Maltese.
Yeah,
and he was the first guy to really bring it to a different level of rap.
And if you remember,
rap
Jay-Z kind of did that.
Yeah, well, Jay-Z and him were
Big L.
Jay-Z learned a lot from Big L.
Yeah,
listen to the 7-minute freestyle. Jay-Z you could tell he was just an entry guy.
Even the Graveyard.
You could tell Big L was the guy who knew his stuff. He was the guy.
Graveyard. Jay-Z's flow is very Big L. Like it's crazy.
Man. So you know, and if I'm sure if in an interview when someone ever asked about Big L to Jay-Z, I guarantee he would say like that was one of my biggest influences.
Oh, for sure,
100%. So I think personally, like he would have been the best. You know what I mean?
But I fully disagree with that. The reason being is, if you really look at it, Redman. Look at Redman, right? A lot of Eminem's style is based on Redman.
So it is.
A lot of it's also
especially
based
the comedy.
on, in a way, Big L, in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
So with White America, hailing the champ or like just, contributing to the sales, like it would always have been Eminem.
Yeah.
Nobody else that lyrical could live in that spot. The only reason Nas could live in the spot a little bit is because he's almost like a street poet.
Oh, he is.
The style,
well,
right?
let's talk about Nelly. Why did Nelly fall off? Because you know what, Nelly to me, he changed the game. Like when Nelly came out,
100%,
he changed.
Jay-Z had that line. Excuse me, only dudes moving units is M, Pimp, Juice, and Us. Like he said, Nelly was that guy, and then Nelly fell off.
Nelly was the guy who brought melody to the game.
Nelly walked so Drake could run.
Yo, let's talk about it. No. Let's really talk about it because who was the first person to introduce melody to rap? Who was the first person? Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah.
Bone Thugs.
Yep.
50.
Right?
Oh yeah.
50 Cent.
The main pioneers were Bone Thugs and Harmony, Pharrell.
Yeah.
And
Andre 3000 too.
Yeah.
Andre,
Outkast.
50 Cent.
In a way,
Outkast.
Yeah, you're
that
right.
name gets forgotten a lot.
Yeah, you're right. And then Nelly.
Yeah.
Nelly was a big game changer. I think
Huge.
Nelly was actually, out of all of them, maybe one of the biggest influencers to that.
Because Country Grammar, he's kind of singing on
He's
that.
singing on
the whole
everything.
thing.
Melody.
Yeah.
Look at this. That album was fire. The song Saint Louis. You can find me in Saint Louis. Where they gonna play rain all day.
Yeah.
Like he just has melodies.
It probably was Nelly, and then 50 kind of took it in.
And Pharrell too.
50
Though.
Cent.
Pharrell.
Gangster.
Yeah, made it
No,
cool.
but Pharrell
made
was
it
a big
cool
part of that too.
Yeah.
Pharrell was a very big part of that too.
Like Pharrell's wasn't an active rapper. You know what I mean?
No, he
was more of a
wasn't. Yeah,
producer.
yeah.
He's more like in the lanes of the Dr. Dre's.
He was a
and
rapper
Kanye's.
first though, before
A
anything.
bit for a minute.
Yeah.
For a
Hey,
minute.
Pharrell
For a hot
spits
minute.
fire verses, man.
Yeah.
You ever get like?
Yeah.
I remember hearing like
Everybody
Alright as a
knows.
rapper, bro.
everybody knows,
Everybody
kills
knows,
it,
crazy.
and
He's
all his verses on the NERD album. I
He
feel like
killed it on
Pharrell's
Drop It Like It's Hot. He killed it. His swag.
killed it.
He killed
Pharrell's
it.
solo album in my mind is like the most underrated album of all time.
Yo,
in my
Pharrell's
eyes.
a hit maker. That's what people don't
100%.
realize. Pharrell is a guy in any era. He can take whatever's going around and he can make a hit
Yeah.
because he knows what's happy.
Because
look
he's
what he did
always
with
happy.
Happy.
Yeah.
Look what he did with all the songs before that. Beautiful with Snoop Dogg. Like I mean, he's just in any time of day or any era, he can just take it and make it.
Yo,
and make
his
it hit. He's very in
production,
tune.
his production on Ariana Grande's album last year put
Crazy.
Ariana Grande's album on my top 10 of
Pharrell's
the year.
very
What did he do on?
calculated,
What did he do on?
I was on Sweetener. He produced like majority of it.
Oh, for real?
It was
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah, he
man.
did.
Like it almost gave me Justified Justin Timberlake vibes.
Yeah, well, he's smart too. That's his bag, man.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande is one of the top artists in the world,
Yeah.
and he just got a huge bag from that.
Literally.
Like,
I have to agree in regards to the person I felt that would have had longevity like Jay-Z probably would have been Eminem. Like I still feel like I don't get why Eminem makes the decisions that he makes when it comes to his more recent albums.
He ran out of things to talk about, right? You have to
He
understand one
did.
thing. Eminem was
Well, he got sober for a bit. I
Yeah,
thought, right?
Eminem
Dude,
was big in a
There's some
time.
people that say that. like
in a time when he was going through a lot and he was on drugs and he was doing all these things and like he had so much to say. When you run out of that, now he's going to the labels like, yo, find me a record that's gonna work, and they're bringing him these cookie cutter records that are not, and they're like, it's gonna work. It didn't work at all because people can see the inauthenticity. You understand? When people are authentic artists, you can relate to them. When Eminem was authentic, he was the biggest he could be. When The Weeknd is authentic, he's the biggest he can be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you move away from that and you lose the authenticity, people know. Like,
I just don't get why M doesn't play, like, especially because he's so lyrical.
There's nothing else to say, man.
I feel like that, and I
what is he gonna talk about?
He already said.
I don't know.
He already rhymed door hinge, bro.
He literally has nothing.
Door hinge and orange.
You know, like he has nothing else to talk about, man.
He's a goat. He is a goat
for sure.
But he ruined his legacy by dropping all the last stuff he dropped.
It's not even.
Don't you dare talk about him like that.
Honestly, like
I gotta get Rahdel on the show more often.
He talks about the Shady Records bag.
Didn't he tarnish his legacy though? Like, weren't you guys bigger fans before he dropped that? Because I was.
No, you know what it is, though, guys.
True,
We got to be honest with ourselves. We got to manage expectations. How many people can really last that long? Like, how many can be a Jay-Z or a Drake?
That's true.
I thought we were changing topics here. I was like,
how many people can last that long, though, right?
It's tough, dude. Yeah, you know, sometimes you see the artists.
We can't see Jay-Z and expect the same from Eminem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna stand up for my dude right now. You know, just for the sake of argument, like, everybody says, like, you know, a lot of people say Kendrick's the best rapper in the world. Like, Kendrick Lamar fans can't tell me 10 Kendrick Lamar lines that are quotables. They can't. Just look at a Kendrick album, look at a Drake album.
Yeah.
There's just as many writing credits.
Yeah.
Hot take? I don't think so. But like, honestly, like, there's just as many writing credits because music is a collaborative process. And I'm not hating on Kendrick.
Yeah.
I love Kendrick.
Me too,
I
man.
love what he does.
It's one of my
a lot of his style also, in my mind, comes from the influence of Eminem and Bone Thugs and Harmony.
It does.
I prefer Cole to Kendrick, but I think Kendrick is necessary, just like J. Cole is necessary. Meek Mill is the last of the gangster breed. He's really necessary.
Yeah, that's true.
But the GOAT, there's always a GOAT in every era. You know, there's a Jay-Z. There was a Pac. There was a Jay-Z. Then there was a Drake. It is what it is,
So,
right?
so who's the next GOAT after Drake?
That's for G4.
what an answer, yo!
And on that note,
I've been waiting for you know what's funny? I practice that in the mirror. Anything positive in music?
boy.
That's for G4.
all right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break here on New Theory. That was awesome.
I just landed in Atlanta and I swear to God I love it. Pretty little thing I keep on my side, got me lost.
And we are back here on New Theory Radio on News Talk Saga 960 AM. The fun is continuing here in studio. That's Landon in Atlanta from S4G4.
Featuring Devin Tracy.
Yeah. Shouts to Devin Tracy as well. And S4G4 here is in studio. Oh, they all just came back. They took a quick smoke break, and they're back. Oh yeah. Who am I kidding?
We're vaping positivity.
Vaping. Oh yeah, we should talk about vaping. Vaping is like on fire right now. But yes, we're back here on New Theory Radio. My name is Nav Nanwa. The show we theorize on all things current affairs, pop culture, everyday life. And I got Rahdel, Demyn, and Farhad in the studio, and we're just kicking it.
So proud of you right now.
I got the names right.
So proud of you.
I'm so bad. I got baby brain, man. I had a kid a few weeks ago. My mind's all everywhere.
Congrats
No, thank you, man. It's good to be back in studio, though. It's good to be back.
What's
We'll be
her
chatting
name?
with you
Her
guys.
name is Nola, right?
Nola, yeah.
So you call her Noel when you get home because you forget.
So, Nav, I got a question for you.
What's up, man?
Is it actually life changing?
Dude, it's crazy. I can't even describe it. It's funny because nothing can prepare you to have your own kid. Like, as much as you to go to your parents.
That shit was tough.
A parakeet?
That was tough, dude.
I had a fish. You know, and what's hilarious is that everyone will try to give you advice, but when you're actually in it, it's just like, okay, like it's like this weird survival instinct that we all have as humans, right? And it's nuts, man. But it feels good. I've been on zero sleep. My wife's actually not slept at all, but we're hanging in there. Hopefully one day she'll be old enough to come on the show too. So
Shout out to Mrs. Nanwa.
we'll do an episode. We'll get her thoughts on Drake and Post Malone.
Toddler Theories coming up next.
Hey, why not, man? Why not? Well, someone else that wanted to chime in quickly about what we just talked about. And so again, we just came out of a segment where we're talking about Jay-Z's longevity in hip hop and what his future album might be
we're back
about.
to Jay-Z again,
and then then we ended up talking about, just GOATs and their eras, and we started talking about the fact that Post Malone's the number one streamed artist right now, and we're talking about who would be the next GOAT, and it will be S4G4. But Demyn Joel from The Element is producing the show today, and she was, during the conversation, guys, she was WhatsApping me some of her thoughts. Demyn, first and foremost, what do you think will Jay-Z's album be about now that he's 50 years old? Do you think the album will be relevant? Do you think the album will be good? And then what do you had some thoughts on Post Malone too?
Yeah, so I think just looking at Jay-Z's music over time, you have seen it change and evolve with the times, and now his music's come to a point where he's legit talking about the song's not coming to my mind, but he's literally talking about investments and all that kind of stuff. So he's making boring things seem cool, you know?
That's true, yeah.
He's making adulting seem cool.
It's like
the Bill Nye of rap, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The Bill Nye of rap.
Gotcha.
So I think he's still gonna stay relevant. People are still gonna like him. That generation's still there. If you grew up listening to Jay-Z, you're still gonna listen to Jay-Z. You're still gonna listen to his older music.
Yeah.
My younger cousins listen to his older music because they resonate more with that and they actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a nostalgia thing. Why do people listen to the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
It's like their parents listen to it. So I think that going forward, when we have kids, those kids are gonna Nola will probably jam out to Jay-Z.
She better, man. She better.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to, especially in this era where things get so lost in translation, where there's so much music getting pumped out. A lot of people lose the old legends and stuff like that. And I was actually really thankful. I'm a Filipino kid, and my mom listened to heavy reggae, heavy dancehall,
That's
heavy
awesome, man.
you know what I mean, heavy old school R&B, and you know what I mean, and for mostly especially Filipino culture, we listen to a lot of ballads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you go in my household, you see my grandma watching TV. It's all soap operas talking about
you guys don't talk, you guys sing.
We sing, we sing.
That's why we talk about Hotel California.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Hotel California.
They communicate through karaoke machines. That's normally how they do it. They're mad at someone, they just sing it to them.
And shout out to Jay-Z for dropping all his music on Spotify on his 50th birthday. No, listen, it's like this. The way it is, because I think, just to piggyback off your point, Jordan, right? When's the last time he played a game?
Ooh, 2001.
As a wizard. No, as a wizard.
Yeah, 2003.
But Jordans are still the biggest lifestyle sneaker in the game.
And it was a horrible season.
When it's timeless, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there.
What was your point on Post Malone?
So you said Post Malone surpassed Drake?
Well, Post Malone is the top streamer.
Drake didn't really drop
this year for streaming because Post dropped a lot of content.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
There's content, but also you have to see the demographics that he appeals to, right? So Post Malone, is white, and a lot of folks you call spade a spade, right?
It's half, man.
So he can only appeal to half of the demographic, whereas Post Malone, he appeals to everyone. And if you even look at Netflix specials with white comedians, they bring on Post Malone and to do the music behind it, and so I think that he appeals to a larger demographic.
So you're saying we still live in a white society is what you're saying?
Definitely.
But that's not his fault, though.
It's not his fault. I'm just saying that
he made himself as not white as possible with his hair and whatever else he did.
But it's funny because now I feel like Post Malone gets the same treatment that Eminem used to get in the late 90s, where it's hey, if I'm a middle America, soccer mom, and I'm doing a show on something,
but it's a combination of things. You got to be super talented to upkeep that.
That's true too. Yeah,
there's a fine line. The music has to.
I think Post is talented. I just don't like the way he's going with his music, because I like his older stuff. But, I mean,
because you expect more out of him.
Yeah, well,
because you hold him to the high standards.
They got to do what's good for the business. They got to do what's good for them. I understand that. And you know what? Maybe when I'm in that position, I'll be
labels.
My mindset will be different. But until then,
because his new album, there's 4 or 5 songs that sound like Sunflower, man. Literally.
But you know what it is once a label sees that you have the potential to reach that type of platform and that mass of people, they can be okay, let's kind of trickle off into this and see how this works. You know what I mean? That there's a lot of influence in labels and stuff like that.
Okay, right? I have a topic for you if you want.
Man, sure.
Listen, let's talk. So we talked about who did the best, who fell off the most,
who fell off
from back then, and I think to me it would be a Diddy, or a Mace, Diddy and Mace, they fell off. I'm talking or Chief Keef. Let's talk about Chief Keef.
Yeah, because Diddy's always
those
in and out.
guys jumped off cliffs, man.
Diddy's always in and out, right?
Yeah, Diddy has a business mentality.
Diddy changed to a business, which is understandable.
But Chief Keef really like kind of.
He changed the game too, man. He was the first guy to do that.
Like, he influenced Toronto a lot.
He did.
Surprisingly,
He did.
All this drill stuff.
All these Roddy Riches and everyone you hear, it all came from the Chief Keef.
They're all from that tree.
Kanye even showed him love too. Like, it was
Chief Keef changed the game, and then he went missing because a million other guys filled his position.
Yeah,
but they just did it their own way, and then made it more.
Yeah, no, they were just younger and better. But
this is what it goes back to. Like, you gotta always reinvent yourself.
You have to,
right?
That's why.
People
he just made the same songs over and over again.
And I just feel like in America, people want to take away from the boy over and over again. But like what Drake's done, like with every album, that banger that comes through, like going from Over to headlines, then running through the six of my woes. Now at God's Plan,
he's a pop culture.
You can't deny it, man.
You know why?
It's culture, man.
He defines pop culture. Do you understand what I'm saying?
He is pop culture.
He literally finds the things that are trending in the world, whether it be UK music or whatever, and he uses and latches onto that, and he creates a culture somewhere else that has not already been introduced to that.
Yeah.
So you look at him. People call him what the culture vulture because he rides on waves, but he's smart for that. He's literally the guy who reinvents himself every time because he knows that if I want to be a Chief Keef or one of these guys and keep sticking to what I know, I'm going to keep doing the same thing. I'm going to fall off. So he reinvents himself every time. He's like, what is the sound?
That's the
what's
formula.
The sound that's
the formula
popping?
of greatness is studying, bro.
It is.
Yeah, the formula of greatness is knowing what's popping and
Yeah.
getting onto that wagon because you're not always going to be the newest thing. You know what I mean? Drake came out as the newest thing, but you're not always going to be that guy anymore.
But it takes
you
a great deal of risk also, right?
course, 'cause
you
you
kind of
have to
shine
then-
light on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because look at what happened to Grime.
Yeah.
Look at what happened to Grime after More Life. Like,
Yeah.
people are now listening to Skepta. We've been listening to Skepta and Dubs for
how long?
time.
And
Yeah.
Skepta vibe, we've been on that from like day one.
Seriously,
Like
Gigs.
initial.
Like I was bumping Gigs' most recent album like
Have
recently.
you heard
Like,
Stormy's new stuff?
no, I haven't.
Dude, Stormy, man, he's
No,
Stormy.
Dave,
my
Dave,
favorite.
what's his name? Dave?
Dave
Dave actually had the #1 top charting UK
Boy
album
band,
in
no.
5 years.
Really?
So
Crazy.
Dave did the best. He had the most anticipated, most downloaded, most streamed UK album in a long time.
That's nuts,
He
man.
actually did better than anyone else
Like
for in
even,
UK.
even if you watch Top
Yeah.
Boy, like we've been on Kano from Rock and Roller. Shout out to Ryan Muhammad,
Yeah.
my brother. Like we've been on these artists, and
Yeah.
like Drake finally shed light on them, and like
But he's been on them
There's a
too
halo.
because he's very calculated. So even though he's been on them, it just took him a while to plan out his next move. Drake is one of the most calculated guys. Right?
Going back to your question, one artist I feel like recently kind of fell off in my eyes is Chance the Rapper, man. Like,
Really? No, I like his new stuff.
You know what
man.
it is?
I didn't like his new album,
You just
man.
don't hear about him much anymore. I wasn't really a huge Chance fan.
There were people when he came out with Coloring Book. There were people being like, "Yo, he's next." Like like where Post
Yeah, he
Malone
was.
is now.
He was.
Like people were saying,
I think he got too weird. I think he went too left.
Yeah,
I think he just went too left.
He
Really?
talked about his wife way too much in that album.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't
it was
really
it
listen
was
to
like
his
a marriage
music.
counselor.
Yeah, but let's
It
talk
was
about
too
M.
long,
M
too.
talked about his wife for literally like 3 albums and still
in
did
a way that
amazing.
stirs the pot. He's just
Yeah.
talking about how great.
So I'm
he
just
is.
gonna end this
And that's
conversation
great.
right here. Chingy. He was right here, now he's not her. He's not her. Let's be real here.
He's at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, he's at the Holiday Inn.
Actually,
Yeah,
no,
He's
not her.
another guy who came and went real quick.
If you guys really want to find out about people that fell off, BET came out with like a series. Honestly, I was like on YouTube and I went to like this YouTube like dark hole and they came out with this series. I forgot what it's called, but it highlights all these rappers that had like a minute and then they fell off. The one that I watched, I was like so intrigued by because we talked about Nelly earlier, was Murphy Lee. So Murphy, and it was
Air Force
interesting.
Ones, though. Don't diss Air Force Ones. That was my
Because
song.
Murphy Lee talks about how like
I'm a fly guy.
like he was talking about pretty much how because he was the youngest of the crew, and he never like he said he's like, you know, I was always hanging around Nelly and like obviously with Nelly printing so much money, they were like, okay, who's next? Like Saint Lunatics. Okay,
I thought it was gonna be him.
yeah, everyone did, and he said admittedly like I got pushed into it, and he's like he's like when they told everyone that my album was coming out, it wasn't ready yet. Yeah, and then he was joking about that song, what the hook going to be, and he's like literally he's just in the studio with Jermaine Dupri. He's like, I don't have a hook. He's like, yo, what the hook going to be? Just like write it, right? Yeah. And it's just fascinating because I think Chingy has one too. I haven't watched the Chingy one. I'll send you guys a link after. But
send it to us because
there's Jaquan, there's Chingy, all these dudes.
Do you know who I think is the most recent to come and go, or who I think is gonna go real quick too? Joyner Lucas. As much as he's amazing,
I think so.
I think that whole Tory Lanez scam they pulled, it worked temporarily, but I think he'll be gone just as quick as he can.
Yo, he can spit though, man.
He's amazing. He's a rapper,
bars.
but he just doesn't have the mega star.
Yo, have you heard of Tory Lanez
He doesn't have the
freestyle?
personality, man.
Dude, I watched it the other day. I came across it and I'm like, yo, that is crazy.
But Joyner, you never heard about him again after that. Let's be real, man. Like, did he really pop off after that?
No.
Yo, he timed that right around. He released that record, so they're very smart for that. It was all publicity. Don't get it twisted. The whole Joyner Tory thing is all publicity. They must have paid.
They went on tour together with Chris Brown.
They paid him a bag. They literally paid Tory.
Openers, right?
Tory got paid a bag for that, 100%. And Tory's our boy. Shout out Tory. Like, it's not even a problem. But like, he got paid a bag for that, like 100%.
No, but speaking of people who fell off or maybe didn't, and speaking of Tory, like. That Chicks tape though, like that's crazy.
I didn't even take it in yet, man.
Yo,
it's good, man.
I heard that, and it made me so nostalgic.
Melodic wise, it's probably fire.
And I was like, why isn't Mario active? Why isn't T-Pain active?
Especially because all these people are still talented, man.
It's hard to get a top charting song though. Even though they look at it like this,
it's
these guys
crazy tape.
Even these guys have the resources behind them. They still can't make top charting songs.
The funniest thing about the Chicks tape that I saw on Twitter was. Someone's like, "Oh, Tory brought Fabulous back," but the funny thing is, Fabulous been releasing albums in the last couple years.
He's B-list. He's a B-list artist.
Yeah. But even with the Tory, speaking on, sorry.
Oh damn!
yo, say your piece.
But even speaking,
come in.
Even speaking on the album, a lot of like T-Pain's the one that reached out to Tory Lanez and was like, hey, like, can I have you on my album? And there's like a whole marketing plot thing behind it too, right?
He's that boy. He's that boy.
You bring out the nostalgia, and like I've been listening to like 2000, 2007 like R&B now.
Right.
That was a smart move for Tory, man, because I feel like with Tory, like I'm not a huge fan. Like I do appreciate what he's doing for the city. Yeah. I feel like Tory just for the longest time just struggled finding like an identity. Now his Chicks tape stuff.
And we struggle with the same things.
Yeah.
We for a little while we struggled with the same things. I mean, like the thing
don't
is,
assume my genre.
No. Look, you know what it is though. It's because when you're such a talented artist, you want to dabble in so many things, and you don't realize at the end of the day that really ruins your end consumer identity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he was going through. I think because he was such a good, because he's actually a phenomenal artist.
He's crazy.
He can literally, we know guys who have worked with him in the studio. We met him before. He came to our show a long time ago. Came to support us. Like we're not in contact with him like regularly now, but like we know who he is. We've been around him. We know what it is. And let me tell you right now, anyone who I've spoken to as an engineer or anyone else, they're saying that like he is incredible in the booth.
In terms of work ethic,
he could do whatever. He could do whatever. And I think that was what was hindering him for a while, was because he could do so much things. He wanted to keep trying so many different things out.
Yeah.
And then people were like, "Yo, what are you? Like what? Like I don't get it. Like what's the identity?" And and that's something that a lot of artists face.
What I was saying earlier. So like, talent is like literally like something that just upholds you. You know what I mean? So like a lot of people for the longest time, they're like, "Oh, you sound like this."
Yeah.
Or you sound like this. Or you sound like this. Sorry.
Thanks.
Yeah, you sound like this, but like it's just when your talent is undeniable, eventually you're just gonna break off into your own sound. And like a lot of people don't know that he used to write for other artists.
Yeah, exactly.
He still does write for other artists, and more importantly, like. Look at the criticism. It's like doing a job interview, right? When they ask you about a weakness, but you're supposed to spin it like it's actually a strength. Like the guy didn't have a distinct sound for so long.
No, he didn't.
So he made a tape. His most successful product is...
He still doesn't have a distinct sound.
It doesn't matter though, because he's got one of the best tapes of the year, and he's like, let me just do what I do best. I take other people's ideas and I flip it.
He does.
Let them come back on the verses with me. And he smoked damn near everybody.
And I think that's why he did it. He wanted to bring back all these legends just to like crush them. If you really think about it, in the back of his mind, like they thought he was paying a tribute, but in the back of his mind, he's like, "Yo, let me crush you, bro.
let me crush you with your own concept."
I know him. Like I met him a few times. Like I'm thinking, like that's the way he would be thinking. Like, yo,
is that not the most Toronto thing ever? Then,
it is. That's how every Toronto guy is. Like, I'm gonna in the back of it. Yo, what are you saying? I'm gonna crush you. That's it.
Let's keep the conversation going. You guys just released your own clothing line. Like, and I remember when I saw you guys perform at the Mississauga Music Awards after party. You guys came rolled in. Those jackets were heavy. The hoodies are heavy. The hats were heavy. And then I just saw that you guys dropped it. It's an interesting time for merch, man. Like merch culture and hip hop and music in general is just nuts. Everyone wants merch. Everyone wants to collab.
Yeah, we kind of want to stay away from merch because like it's not even merch. It's actually a clothing line.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily related to just because we're artists. Because you know what? A lot of people on our team, like it wasn't even us who really did most of the clothing stuff. It was more of the other guys on our team and the creatives on our team. And shout outs to these guys for that. And like, I mean, they want to make it a real brand, and so do we. Obviously, we all want to make it a real brand. So we don't want to associate it with merch necessarily because it's not a one-time thing. It's not based on our album or nothing like that.
We don't use the M word here.
We want it to be like
no M word allowed.
We don't want it to be music merch, right? We want it to be like the Jordan line, like, regardless of the music, whether you really bump S4 G4 music or not, you wear it because it's high quality clothing. And to be honest with you, like, we're the real, like, we have the duo here, and I go over all the music with them, right? So we have the music side here, but a lot of the merch, a lot of the clothing line was handled by Ryan and Matt Muhammad, the other two managers, as well as young Phil Jackson over here, Mark Gallardo, like all the
Filipino Jackson.
What up? that's such a new age hip hop name.
He's like our
Filipino Jackson.
He's like our Lamar Taylor,
That's
like
dope,
he's a dope person. He's a dope,
He's a
creative.
visionary.
Yeah, he's a visionary, and then they put it all together. It's dope. It's all made in Canada, which we're really, really, really proud of.
Yeah,
and this
supporting
is
local
something that anybody can wear.
And you know what I like about it too is that's very similar. Again, we keep going back to him, but that's very similar to the OVO approach. That's very similar to when Jay-Z launched Rockaware, right? Like, it was very much in tune with, hey,
well, they're all their clothing brands. They launched them even like not even necessarily at the
for
peak.
50 cents.
You know what it is? It's a
It
lifestyle.
wasn't necessarily
dude.
at the peak of their careers either.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yo, when that,
Right, like
remember
Sean John was kind of before. Wasn't it before
No,
that
no,
he
it
was
was
even?
Sean John was Fuego.
But yo, didn't he?
Sean John Valorsu still must cop.
After Biggie and stuff.
Yeah. So it was after that stuff. But I mean, like, in terms of his personal career or whatever, I don't even know. But at the end of the day, these guys have all attached a real brand name to them.
It was definitely after I Need a Girl, because after he dropped Sean John, he didn't need a girl no more.
I watched
But you know what it is though? If you notice that people that are doing the stuff where it's like a clothing line with the brand, it's because they believe in the brand more than just the music.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, they believe in the longevity of it.
It's like two trains of thought, because I remember I watched Mike Cement, the Wu-Tang documentary. I watched it on a flight, and it was like fantastic. And RZA talks about how like Wu Wear was really just an extension of just Wu-Tang. Like, and it wasn't around like, hey, throwing 36 Chambers on a t-shirt. It was like, hey, we have a sick logo. How do we monetize it? And he even said straight up, like, Wu Wear ended up like bringing in more money than the albums.
But that's how you build a cult following. That's how you know like how you can gauge who's really messing with you and your music and your brand. And you know what I mean?
Would you guys ever like collab with the big brand? Because that's the opposite. Is like you got
any big brands out there? Shout out to any big brands.
Shout out Marcoso.
Chick-fil-A,
right? Because like
Charmin,
anybody? No, like yo, I want to say this because shout out Marcoso, because like he's been giving us some jewelry and stuff like that. So like we've been talking to him about a possible collaboration. Marcoso's dope, and I see guys like, believe it or not, like I see a lot of photos with a guy, even rappers and stuff in the city rocking his stuff.
Yeah.
So like he's definitely had a brand name, and like his stuff is pretty dope. So like I definitely think at any collab it would probably be with him first. I think
because you obviously got like Easy with Adidas. You got I think Jay does have affiliation with Puma. He hasn't released any sneakers yet, but I know people in his
Rock Nation.
Yeah, Rock Nation.
Is affiliated with
and
Puma.
then you got like obviously Drake with Jordan. You got Travis Scott with the Cactus Jack stuff, working with Jordan Brand, and like they're always launching shoes.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting collabs. It's not fashion related, but I don't know if you guys popped open Uber Eats and how they have like Migos's tour menu on Popeyes.
No way.
Yeah.
So these guys going straight into culinary. I know they have the chips. They got those chips.
Yeah.
Wherever you can get the bag, man.
And it's crazy because I got a notification sent to me, and it was like this week. It's like, get the Migos tour order, and it's like one's called the Offset, one's called the Quavo, and like these are ridiculous orders.
You have to in this day and age. You have to do the cross branding, because if you realize that a big thing that's huge now is Fortnite streamers or video game streamers in general.
Yeah.
You'll see artists approach these streamers and be like, yo, you have a platform that maybe there's certain kids that they're young, they're 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe they haven't heard a Biggie album before, but imagine attaching like, oh, yo, tossing a Biggie album while the stream's going on, and these kids are like, oh, I like that. That's what a lot of artists are doing now. They're going to the YouTube era where a lot of people have different cult followings in different areas, and they're bringing it together.
You know what it is nowadays, man? Like literally, you can make a living as long as you have a following. You can make a living.
It's clapping, man.
Social resumes are the number one thing right now, and social influencers, and like there's literally like people who just make content for a living and just get rich like that because it's just about
Jake Paul in that.
Jake and Logan Paul.
We're in the age of subset groups, like subset influencers who have a targeted 100K here, 100. Like it's just like everyone's in their own little groups now.
Even at Walmart,
they're
like
finding ways to divide people a lot more now. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
I don't like it though because it's like
I hate it too.
Too much access, way too much access to.
But it depends on what side you're looking from. From a marketing aspect of it, that's the most genius thing that you could possibly do.
But then, like, what's sacred? what's private anymore. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like I said, but in social media, what is sacred?
Yeah.
What is?
The whole collab thing's interesting.
You just got to use things to your advantage, right? Like,
no, you need to. You need to. Like even like I think Adidas flat out said that they were making more money off of the artist collabs and like the athlete collabs.
Probably, yeah.
And you look at the roster, like I thought it was hilarious when they did the Pusha T sneaker and they put a fish scale design on it.
There's
and
a
I'm
Pusha
like,
T sneaker?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a Pusha T Oswego Adidas.
I'm still wearing the Birdman lugs.
You're not rocking the Funkmaster Flex one? I had the Funkmaster Flex ones. They had the FMF on the back.
Serious, eh?
I was like just like stomping the ground.
Rocking FUBU.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Oh my god, that's hilarious, man. Yeah, some of those collabs are legendary, man. Like I think about it, it's insane to see just how far it's going. Like obviously you have other collabs like in streetwear, like a Supreme, that are absolutely killing the game when it comes to you know using artist imagery on their t-shirts. Yeah. But you know what? It's fascinating to see now that it's no longer an athlete.
Yeah.
That's like getting these endorsements.
That's initially what it was. That was the stigma.
Like even Gary V has a sneaker with K-Swiss. Like that's nuts, man.
Gary V's the man, though. He's like the most motivating person in the world.
He's the only one that can talk to me like a piece of dirt, and I'm like, yeah, what a great guy.
He's the one motivational speaker that I like. I don't like anybody else.
No, because
I went to Tony Robbins, but only because a long time ago when I got a job, it was like they actually brought me there for the first week of the job of the position. Yeah, and they paid for it, and it's really expensive. But I mean, like motivational speaking, that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other topic.
That's smart, dude.
Gary V's like marketed hip hop.
Oh, totally,
right?
man.
Like that's his demographic. It's crazy.
I love it. Like I find that Gary V has that.
But he's authentic. That's what I like about him.
He's real.
He's authentic, and you know he like I said, you got to study certain things. He was studying the market way before.
He definitely was.
And I think I read or I saw something about how he almost invested in Uber.
Yeah,
he missed the boat on that, and he's like, oh, I regret that. But he's like, that's the thing. You always got to be in tune with what's going on in the culture. You just got to follow. You got to follow the youth. Literally, that's what it is.
Yeah,
this guy started like going to yard sales and then taking stuff and selling it online.
And now you have Storage Wars as an episode. You know
Seriously,
what I mean?
man. Seriously, it's a crazy game out there, man. I thought it'd be cool for this last segment. A couple of like articles I just want to kind of bring by you guys. But before we do that, like obviously you guys, we're talking about your Spotify numbers and how the growth has been real. But did you guys actually were you guys able to pull like your personal Spotify numbers, like what you were listening to this year? And like I'd be curious to kind of know.
So I'm an Apple user.
Oh, sorry guys. Okay, so no Spotify.
He's a no user.
Yeah, I'm an Apple user, so I don't think you can even check.
Apple doesn't do that, man. They don't do that.
They're secretive like
that.
Yeah,
which is interesting. You would think they jump on it.
But his Wrapped would have been us for sure.
Oh yeah, that's for G4 all the way.
I mean, my Wrapped. Yeah, I pulled my Wrapped. You know, I was embarrassed about a couple of them, so I'm not going to talk about it.
All Sarah McLachlan.
I will.
My number one was obviously myself because I love it. I have problems
just racking up those streams.
But no. Next to that was St. John was my number two.
Nice,
obviously.
Nice.
Roddy Ricch, PNB Rock. I love PNB Rock.
Yeah.
And as much as you know, I might talk not as much as highly about him all the time, but Nav was my number 5.
Whoa! Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on your top 5.
No, but like we work with the same guys as Nav does. So like I mean, like you know, he's always been a part of it too. And you know what? He dropped some crazy records. So
I feel like we can do a topic on Nav in the future because honestly, Nav, I don't hate him. Not like I'm not a huge fan of his. He stole my name. Yeah, it's funny now when I go to Starbucks, I'm like, hey, my name's Nav. Like, oh, like the rapper, and I just get so like.
Well, you are older.
I am older.
He stole your name for sure.
He stole my name.
You're not older by much though. So.
Yeah, my top. You know what's crazy though? Like when I was when I go to my Spotify and I click your top songs 2019.
Yeah, it better be us though. That's all I'm saying.
That's for G4, of course, yo.
No, it's not.
For Bruce Wayne, man, on repeat. What was interesting is that I actually tweeted this out. I asked guys, I was like, how many of your top songs of 2019 were actually from 2019? Because I find that with streaming, I think we talked about this earlier, but with streaming, like I'm listening to like old stuff too.
That's a great question.
And like it's funny how they say your top songs because my top song for 2019 is actually like based in like 2014.
A lot of artists haven't even dropped a record and they did crazy numbers this year just based off other songs that they had from before. You know, and it does happen because you know even like Fetty Wap. Let's look at Fetty Wap. Fetty Wap's our bro. Like we got to work with him, which was really great.
Sick, man.
You know that was really a sick opportunity for us. And you know, he has not, since his blow up, he has not dropped really any more, I would say, memorable music for the people. Like, I still listen to his stuff, but not anyone. Can you name me a Fetty Wap song after those hits?
No.
Can anyone?
He has a song called Bruce Wayne, too.
No,
he does?
There's a song called Holiday. There's a couple other songs that I listen to, but no one else knows about them, right? So a lot of his streaming came from his previous stuff.
Yeah.
And he still did over 2 billion.
Crazy.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is,
there you go.
That was before the real streaming era, though. Like right at the cusp of like.
Yeah. That was like
when
2015.
Trap Queen came out.
2015, 14.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I was just going through my top songs, and I see Marvin's Room here, and this is, and I'm married, so I don't know why I was listening to this. Somebody heard Farhad. Shout out to the wife. That's a hack.
Yeah, honestly, mine's all over the place. I actually, because I use my Spotify mainly for work music, so a lot of it's like very mellow stuff. So according to Spotify, my artist of the year was Flying Lotus, which was like, he didn't release a new album, but like,
he's like a flying flower.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I listen to instrumentals when I'm doing work at my day job.
So he's like
it's instrumentals.
He's like an instrumentalist. Like,
is it like Zen stuff? Because like Flying Flower.
Well, you know, he's like his productions are awesome. Like, he's produced on Kendrick's album and Mac Miller's album. Like, he's more like experimental.
Right. Good for him.
He's dope. Yeah, but like, it's just funny. And then like number 2 was like Solange, because I was listening to her new album a lot.
But that was good.
Yeah, it was really fire, good. Man. Yeah,
like elevator music.
I don't know what that is.
So it's not totally representative of what I listen to. Oh yeah, yeah, it all goes back to Jay-Z.
Elevator music. Oh, that's good.
Bars, baby.
Punchlines on punchlines.
Save that punchline, man. That's awesome.
But he's like the coolest uncle you could ever have. Like, gets beat up in the elevator.
My uncle Bernie's pretty cool, so I'm not gonna say that, but yeah.
My uncle Muhammad's pretty cool too.
That's hilarious.
He helped my mom move today, so.
Let's talk about some topics from the week, man. There's one about Google being sued by Genius. Are there any of your tracks on Genius? Like, did we have to code your lyrics?
We have. Is it on Genius? I think it's on. I think we have one on Genius. No.
I don't know.
We have a lot of songs on Genius.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Ryan is our Genius guy.
Yeah. Oh, no.
He's the one that, he
do a next segment on him.
We pretty much have everything up until this point. It should be on Genius.
That's awesome. Yeah. So apparently Google is being sued by Genius, the lyrics website, on the grounds that they have been continuously and knowingly copying their lyrics and using them in search results.
What I gotta say is, who's got more lawyer money?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's where I bet on this side of the lawsuit.
So you feel like
I don't think Google's lost a lawsuit yet, so I'm not
Genius
planning on
is gonna have to pay them in pennies.
Genius, they're gonna have to change their name. You know what I'm saying?
No, but realistically though, that is pretty messed up, because if you think about it, Genius is it's a type of its
Google
own
can
culture.
do whatever they want,
because they dissect, they go in depth in it, and they put description of what this could have meant or what this does mean. Like, you know what I mean?
But Google runs everything else.
Yeah.
So apparently, according to this article on Hot New Hip Hop, Genius doesn't have a copyright claim due to the fact that they don't own the lyrics. However, they do have a license to print the song lyrics.
Yeah.
Google also has the license, but how Google got these lyrics is still in question. Honestly, Google's a search engine.
Yeah, like you know what Google did is they just bypassed going to all these artists, and we're like, yo, let's just grab it off Genius. Yeah, because they're not that smart.
And dude, like literally, like on your phone, I'll be on a website.
Let me tell you right now, I'm pretty sure Google thought about this way before they did it.
100%.
So if they were gonna take something from them, they knew that they would win in court. So I'm pretty sure that Genius has no clause here and nothing at all, because they're printing other people's lyrics to begin with. Yeah, and as long as they get acceptance from what Google, imagine Google goes to every other artist and like, write me a statement saying that I'm allowed to use your lyrics.
Yeah.
And then they go to court like, yo, every artist accepted. So what was Genius gonna do? Well, we got it first. It doesn't even matter.
Would it be like, it doesn't even matter to what Disney did with Netflix, right?
Probably,
like,
100%.
Let them just open up shop, do all these crazy things. Like, hey, now we're just gonna take your idea.
That's it. Just bypass the middleman, right? And just go right for it. And
that's the day and age we're in right now. The day and age we're in is everything gets eaten up by these bigger companies, and they can literally monetize every single thing that you thought you could do. They can already do it better.
Especially because like I know Genius has had a mixed rep amongst artists too. Because sometimes like
because
their code isn't true.
Well, they're decoding it based on their interpretation. They haven't necessarily talked to every artist about it. Now they're doing a way better job at that. Now they talk to the artists and they get their opinion, and then they just kind of portray that. I think before they were doing it on their own.
They misconstrue. I don't know if you know, but Lil Wayne's Lollipop is not about lollipop. It's about politics in Israel.
Really?
No, man. What? What? No, man.
I was like, oh my God.
Sensitive topic, man.
So imagine he worked at Genius. Can you imagine this guy worked at Genius? There'd be 4 extra wars in the Middle East, and there would be no shortage of lollipops.
Oh my God, that'd be like almost like a Wikipedia employee. It's funny because
but that lollipop cannot have gelatin.
That's a Middle East joke right there. That's a Muslim joke.
I'm just gonna last to say that Genius. I like the integration with Spotify too.
I like that too, but I think they're gonna get crushed by Google, so they should drop this. That's my answer to this topic.
Yeah. One other topic that's interesting. Did you guys watch Aladdin when it came out? Not the old one.
I thought it was really crap.
Yeah, I heard.
Yo, they made Will Smith turn into the most unmacho man of all time.
And I think the guy who the main actor, that guy in Aladdin,
Mena Massoud,
whatever he is, I don't think he was that great, to be honest. I think it was really whatever.
Canadian, man.
So speaking of Mena, he's actually from Toronto.
Who do you like?
He's from Ryerson. I think he went to Ryerson, right? I think he went to Ryerson.
So Mena Massoud apparently is claiming that after the Aladdin spinoff, he can't find work.
Can I answer this in like a really
here we go.
Here we go.
Rahdel's hot take. Here we go.
Look, man. The day and age we live in, he's brown or whatever. He's not white or black, and he's trying to make it in not Bollywood. He's trying to make it in Hollywood.
Yeah.
How many roles are really available for him?
Yeah.
Let's be real. How many? Like, what is he gonna go in the next life of Pi Part 2? Like,
you know what?
Farhad had a good point during the commercial break, man.
What I was thinking about that is like, because he's Egyptian, right? And we already have, I think probably Hollywood's thinking we already got Rami Malek, who did the Bohemian Rhapsody. He won the Oscars.
He killed that, though.
Why do we need another Mena Massoud?
He crushed that.
But that just shows you like typical typecasting. Because I actually think he didn't do that bad. Like I thought he was good.
No, I thought Will Smith did horrible in Aladdin.
And he's
the movie
actually
overall
doing a
was
show. I think I don't know if it's coming on Netflix. Maybe Amit knows, but like he's working on something. Because I saw an interview with him on Jimmy Kimmel. But you would expect someone who did Aladdin to just be blowing up right now. But
there's no roles though. You have to understand white Hollywood or black Hollywood right now. That's what it is. But let's be real right now. Hollywood is based on the main actors in every single Hollywood movie are either black or white. Okay, let's be real. And
no, Filipinos have Lou Diamond Phillips.
Listen, Filipinos have nothing on any Hollywood. I don't even know. You guys haven't even created your own market yet, so there's no Bollywood, Hollywood, nothing for you guys. I don't know what's going on with your island.
We have Manny Pacquiao.
That's their legend for the whole. Not even like the decade, just the entire Filipino.
Is he still a senator? He's a senator still. Right?
I'm not too sure. To be honest.
I think Dave Bautista.
I know he still punches people in the face hard.
Big Dave, man.
But going back to that stuff, man, it's just like, what do you want him to do? There's no roles available.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not like people are like, we're looking for Egyptian male. Like, they're not looking for him, bro. Like, they're just not. Man. So that's the only reason. Is he not a talented? He's probably a very talented actor. Like Will Smith said it, right?
Wait till the Mummy comes out.
Will Smith said he's very talented. Don't worry, buddy. Yeah. It's gonna happen. He's just letting him fall easy because he knows he's not gonna get nothing. Go to Bollywood, man. Go to Bollywood,
he was the best in Aladdin besides the monkey.
Yeah, but the movie.
Will Smith is my favorite actor.
Absolute garbage. The movie was so bad.
It was not as bad as Lion King though.
It was up there. It was up there. You know what I've learned is these guys remaking any legendary movie is not working, man. They're just crushing.
I thought Aladdin was being really good because that's actually how I got into singing.
Really? Eh? So the first Aladdin, not this one.
Wow. Okay, you know what? We're gonna become G4 now.
I swear to God.
G4.
That's
you know that song, A Whole New World?
We're done. We're done.
A Whole New World.
Yo, cut the whole podcast.
What do you mean? You don't like Aladdin?
No, just stop.
Who's this guy like? Lady and the Tramp is his favorite.
They actually made a live action Lady and the Tramp. It's actually on Disney Plus. Like, you know what? We did a topic about this a few months ago when Lion King dropped. But I remember Lion King having so much hype because he had Beyonce, Donald Glover, like everybody was in it. I didn't watch it because like someone told me it's just like because you think about these classics, like you can't if you try to remake them. Like I think there is some type of novelty.
I don't even remember it. I watched it. I still don't remember it right now. Like, I cannot remember.
It was like emotionless.
Very immemorable. Like
no emotion. You know they try to make it too realistic.
Even the babies didn't cry. No one cried. Like no one cared. It was just it wasn't good.
Yeah. There goes a childhood.
Yeah, I know. I lost my childhood in 2 hours, man.
Down the drain.
We got a few minutes left. What do you guys have on deck, man? What's S4G4 working on? Obviously, the clothing just dropped.
We have a lot, man. We have a lot.
So
you just came back from LA. You just came from doing interviews on.
I'll keep it real. Like the thing that we've been trying to just like Tory Lanez was trying to figure out our identity, what's gonna work best for us. So we were dropping a lot of music every 3 weeks. We're dropping it really frequently. I think we're gonna scale that back a bit in terms of not that we're not going to drop music. We're just not going to drop it as frequently because I think that there's a lot of fans we haven't got to yet, and I want them to be able to digest it properly. And I don't think like us just putting out so much great music at the same time is really the best thing to do. Yeah. And we, like Demyn's had a lot of writing opportunities, and me too as well. So like we're just trying to focus on more of the pub stuff now and writing for other artists too. But we're still doing don't get it twisted. Our main focus is us as artists.
Yeah.
But we don't want to just like drop so much content that people is getting lost in translation.
Totally, man. Totally.
You know what I mean? So we kind of really want to focus on pushing them right. Yeah. Focus on
just quality more than anything. I know it's a day and age where quantity is very,
especially in streaming, man. Like I don't listen to every single thing Future puts out.
No,
it's too much.
But that's the thing, right? I rather like just from an artist standpoint, like I don't know, you want people to really resonate with a record that you really really love.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? I wish, I pray that one day we have the ability to have the funds to really market this stuff, to hit the masses of people that we want to hit. Because like I feel, and we will, but I feel like our music, and I'm being unbiased, just from a listener standpoint, like we've studied this so much, we've put a lot of
awesome, man.
blood, tears into this stuff, and it's just like I really want it to get to a point where we put out one record and we get the response that we deserve.
Yeah, and that's so keep it real. Dude. Like you hosted the Mississauga Music After Party. Who shut down the Mississauga Music
you
After
guys
Party?
did, man. And I'll be honest, like outside of just hearing a couple of your tracks and reading articles about you guys, like I didn't know much about you. And when I saw what you guys did, like it was crazy. Like even I saw, like, again, you guys were performing alongside Maestro Fresh West, who's a legend in Canadian hip hop. Like some people after your set like went home. Like it was, and I'm not like trying to discredit Maestro, but
he's a legend.
A legend,
you know, and he was there when we did the
amazing
prayer.
Guy.
You know what's crazy? We did a prayer before we went on set that day, and like he was like, during his set, he commended us on that. He was like, yo, nice. You know how these guys are going to make it? Because they pray together, they do everything together, and they perform together. And he knew that. And like, like some people did leave, but it doesn't take nothing away from him. He's a legend regardless.
He's a legend.
But I mean, like, it does show you that, in the new day, like we are taking over 100%. You know what I mean? And people need to get with it because it is what it is.
How would you describe like the Saga scene right now? Obviously, Party Next Door is like put Saga on the map.
You know what's funny? I actually love what's going on in the Saga scene because now we're
Saga's fire, man. We have the best. We have the best artists.
I think so.
In anywhere, man.
Excluding us, because if you think about it, now you have
crazy people.
You have a lot of people coming out, and like in Toronto. At first, it was after the Drake thing. It was like now people's looking Toronto.
Yeah.
Then Tory Lanez came out. Yeah. Now people are looking at Brampton. Alessia Carr came out of Brampton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like now Saga's coming out. Anders came out.
Anders is killing it.
We'll shout out a couple of our guys.
Young Tory.
We have a couple of our guys, like people we work out with. We work with Devin Tracy.
Yeah.
I mean Harmon, HSP Sound. He's fire, man.
Yeah.
He's just starting up. You know, there's so many guys.
Paisley, a lot of people.
Paisley, Young Tory, he just signed. A lot of Saga artists are signing.
Listen, man, I think right now, Saga artists are the best right now. That's what I think in the GTA. You know what I'm saying? I might, and everyone's subjective to that. I mean, people might think Toronto artists, because there's more people, there might be some better artists. But I just think, for me personally, I've been around all the artists, and like I think Saga has a lot of talent.
It does, man. It does.
It's just because of the suburb mentality, I think, kind of too. Because like guys came from the burbs compared to like coming from downtown. It's a different mentality.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
But Nav, like it's like this, like. The way I look at it, if this is New York, if Toronto's New York, Saga's Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and we got next, and we got now. You know,
100%.
And I'm the manager.
Mentality, man.
I'm fortunate enough, privileged enough to be one of the managers of this duo. And one thing, he's
the visionary. Don't get it twisted. He's not just one of the three managers. He's the main guy. You understand what I'm saying? So like, just
like my brothers, the Muhammad brothers. It's kind of like Dana White and the Fertitta brothers. You know, we put in all the work
I love
together,
the wrestling and MMA analogies, man.
Like, the Muhammad brothers are my Fertitta brothers.
Yeah.
Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta. Matt and Ryan, I love you guys. I love Mark. The thing is, the advantage that we have is, there's a lot of artists, they go a different route. Like, you look at Havaya Mighty, Polaris Prize winner, amazing. Her goal this year was to tour, right? And that's great. She did her thing. But what we have is we have a lawyer within our team. We have a creative director within our team. We have an artist who used to be a former artist.
We have what these guys are trying to build. Right? And not to say that they don't have it. They're trying to build this, but that's what we've accomplished.
You guys already have it equipped.
And we're down to work with everybody. But one thing that really sets this duo apart is, at the end of the day, it's kind of like having two LeBrons. It's like the closest thing I can say is like,
I'm the LeBron without the hairline though. He's early.
You just have to bring up the hairline.
Yeah.
The closest thing I can say is like, when you had Durant and Curry in the Warriors in the first year, because at the end of the day, if you look at most duos, one person always outshines the other.
All the time.
Let's be honest, I love Big Boy, but Andre 3000 is the lead
Ray
voice.
Shrummer.
Right? Ray Shrummer, Sway Lee. But
yeah.
they can all, like, both of them can just do their own thing.
The thing is, we can hang anywhere. Like, he can go to LA and hang. I can stay here and hang.
Yeah.
I can go hang by myself somewhere because we're both
You go to the monkey bars, I'm hanging, baby.
You know what I'm saying? I'm hanging. You go to the park, I'm hanging.
Oh, you guys are hilarious.
And that's why, we go by
you don't know our monkey park.
We go by the moniker
see my closet, I got
BDA.
hangers
The goal is to be the goal is to be the best duo alive. You know, which I believe we are. I believe I've seen it. It's just about the world seeing it. You know, and that's what it is.
Honestly, boys, I just love the fact that you guys have that team mentality. You guys are. It's not I, it's we, and that. And
pass first. Pass first.
Yo, listen, man. That's the one thing. Like, if I could shed light to anyone, like all these artists coming up, they're always wondering like what to do and stuff, and like when they say it, you know what's crazy? Everyone said it to us from the beginning. You need a team. You need a team, right? They're like, whatever. You get a team when you make it, and you get money, and then you have a team that's always gonna work for you because you're money. No, you need a foundation from the beginning so that when this money does come around, the money doesn't.
But
ruin
a team
you.
of genuine people.
You understand what I'm saying? It's about the money not ruining you. It's about you having a team there from the get-go to know what to do so that you cannot be ruined by this industry, because this industry will take people in and chew them and spit them out.
100%.
And a lot of these guys who are doing it now, they don't even know it yet, but they'll get spit out eventually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're not trying to get spit out. You know, so we're really focused on that. We know we learned a lot. We learned a hell of a lot. So
but it's like working with like-minded people, right? Like a Demetrius.
Yeah, of course.
Who runs
Demetrius
with Saga Music.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
that's the big homie. Like someone like you. Like I really wish for you, like you could be, you know, like Joe Rogan one day, seeing the smoke, you know, like
Too
you
kind, man.
being the competitor to Joe Rogan, like, because I think you have the voice, I think you have the personality,
Thanks,
and you know,
man. Appreciate it.
You know, Lord willing, you do great things. Like
Thank
we
you, man.
want everybody to do great things.
We need
right?
this,
We
especially
want
here
the culture to
locally,
change
man.
here.
except for Jay-Z.
Hey man,
On that note,
I'm just playing. I'm too late. He's
Shut his
already
mic
a
off. Shut his
billionaire.
mic
He's a
off.
billionaire. I'm just joking.
No, but I appreciate
Don't
that,
kill me.
boys. I appreciate you guys coming in, man. I'm glad we were able to do this fun, crazy trivia. No, these guys were supposed to be on in November, but then they accommodated because my daughter was born.
Yeah,
so I appreciate it. Yeah,
You're selfish.
But I'm glad I brought you guys in. I know, super selfish.
Selfish,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's all her fault. It's all her fault.
Lola's fault.
Wait, we could have done this conversation earlier, but you know what? We'll do this conversation again for sure.
Yeah,
I want to thank
absolutely.
S4G for joining us here in studio. What's the best way people can reach out to you guys, man?
Yo, man, at S4G for Music, S4G for on Spotify or any other streaming platform. You can find us there.
Amazing.
All inquiries, hit us up at s4g4music@gmail.com. And
Awesome.
Check out the website.
For sure.
website. Yeah. The merch is all available on s4g4music.com.
Yeah, go
The
cop some
clothing
merch.
line, not
The clothing
merch.
line.
Oh my God! Did I say merch?
said the M-word.
Man, clothing.
The clothing line. Yeah, go support the boys.
Oh, man.
Thanks for having us, bro.
Yeah,
Thank you,
anytime. And
This is
congrats
awesome.
on an amazing 2019, man. Those Spotify
And
numbers don't lie. Like, those are
It's
good
been a
numbers.
pleasure, man.
and
We appreciate that.
I'm excited to see next year's screenshot.
And it's crazy because we got like OGs like George Nazuka, Danny Fernandez, people
All of
like
them,
that
man.
already reaching out.
There you
Fetty
go.
Wap, like we've been in studio sessions with Fetty Wap. So,
Amazing.
like, this is only the beginning.
I know,
you know?
it truly is.
Just
It truly
beginning,
is. And thank you for tuning into New Theory Radio. If you want to connect with me, it's at New Theory Radio on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you want to connect, if you want to connect with the show, it's at New Theory Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to connect with me, it's at nnanwa on Twitter or at Nav Nanwa on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in. You will hear all of us next time. Peace.
Saga, baby.
Dude, that was fun.